storm. New shot of Studio 1A here in the Rockefeller Center, and the situation says the picture says it all. And here's a shot here of 68th Street and Broadway. The snow is coming down in tremendous amounts now. We've been getting reports of 1 to 2 inches an hour. It's been falling, so definitely if you don't have to go out into the roadways, we would suggest staying home because it's just a very dangerous situation and only going to intensify as the morning continues and into the afternoon. Our own Chris Cimino has been tracking the storm force all morning long, and he is here now with the latest word. Chris, what do you know?
I'll tell you, we still are watching the leading edge of this snow continue to move across the area. Also on your screen, you're going to notice for the hearing impaired, we will have some signing going on to carry you through this forecast. And it is a tedious one, certainly. We're watching the storm system continue to develop now along the middle Atlantic coast. This is a radar picture on top of a satellite picture. This is a large storm. It's snowing in Atlanta, where it's 22 degrees right now. I'll give you an impression of how deep the cold is and how far south the snow has gone here. In a band from, let's say, western sections of North Carolina through central Virginia and then toward the nation's capital, we're talking about already on the ground 1 foot to 1.5 feet of snow. And it's that band that's following the track of the storm that should pass right over south central sections of New Jersey and then toward the city later on today and especially tonight into Monday morning. And that's when the worst is going to be. Tonight, overnight, Monday morning, and then gradually winding on down. But this is a big storm. It's going to take a while before it clears on out of here. And again, along with it, we're going to see some very strong winds out of the northeast. They will continue to increase as the day wears on. That'll do a couple of things. It'll cause considerable blowing and drifting of the snow, certainly, and also lower those wind chill values. Total snow accumulations, 15 to 20 inches from the city across Long Island, southwestern sections of Connecticut, much of New Jersey. There could be a couple of pockets in here that are approaching the 2-foot mark in Middlesex County, Mercer County, Monmouth County. A little bit lighter, if you want to call it that, at 10 to 18 inches to the north and west. But again, with a lot of blowing and drifting, a couple of foot, 3-4 foot drifts, certainly a possibility. This is going to be a powdery snow. Only good thing about shoveling it is the fact that you don't have to worry about heavy snow. It's not going to be a wet type of snowfall. It's going to be generally light and powdery. Forecast highs today only in the upper teens. That's the best we're going to do. Low 20s to the south and west, mid-teens at best to the north and west again. Those northeast winds kick up. Another factor from the northeast winds, we're going to see the seas continue to pile up along the Jersey Shore and eventually Long Island and Long Island Sound as well. We expect seas out there 15 to 20 feet. There's going to be some coastal flooding at times of high tide, especially along the Jersey Shore, again, as the storm continues to drift slowly northward. So it's only been snowing really in the city for about 3 or 4 hours. This is the very beginning of a storm that's probably going to last close to between 24 and 36 hours before it winds down later tomorrow as some snow showers. So we've only just begun, I'm afraid. It's going to get much worse later this afternoon and tonight. We'll continue to monitor the storm through the rest of the afternoon. We'll have more in a little bit. Eric,
all right, Chris Cimino, thank you.
Long Island right now. He joins us on the phone. MG, this storm has been moving up the coast. How bad is it in Long Island right now?
Well, Perry, we can tell you, along with everybody else, Long Islanders are certainly watching the snowfall this afternoon. But of more concern for the moment are the high tides that will come later this evening. The threat of coastal flooding is definitely, there's definitely a threat of that later tonight. We're joining you from Freeport, Long Island, which is on the south shore. And here, high tide is expected to come at about just after 10 o'clock tonight. So preparations are being made for that possibility. We can also tell you that the township of Oyster Bay on Long Island, as of noon today, declared a snow emergency. And what that means is that all necessary personnel are reporting on the roads to try to clear the way. What it means for residents in the township of Oyster Bay is they're being asked to remove their cars, take them off street, put them in driveways in the garage. If that's not a possibility, officials with Oyster Bay Township have asked that you park your car on the side of the even-numbered homes. So if you're in the town of Oyster Bay, a consideration, if you have a car, get it off the street if at all possible. Now, we traveled across South Nassau County this morning, Long Beach through Rockefeller Center. Most of the major roads are being cleared by plows and sanders at this hour. But unfortunately, those side streets, the snow is just piling up. So as across the tri-state area today, not a good idea to be out driving. We are in the process of setting up here in Freeport, and we will be bringing you some live pictures of the situation here shortly. Back to you, Perry and Ken.
All right, MG, then we'll see you in a little bit.
And right now we're going to check in with an institution I'm sure that's probably receiving quite a few calls this morning. It's the AAA.
Rowdy, he is on 68th Street and Broadway in Midtown Manhattan. Dave, what's happening?
Well, Perry, I'd say that there's probably not even 2 inches of snow yet so far. They say we're going to get a lot more than that, but it is already really treacherous. You see people walking here. Let me show you what it is like if you are driving. Now, take a quick look here. You see there's not very much snow on the ground, actually. But if I take a little running start and I try to put on the brakes, I skid. Now, imagine you're 2,000 pounds of steel and you're going a lot faster than that. You are just going to keep going if you hit the brakes. So city streets, even though they are out and they are sanding, you probably don't want to be on them unless you absolutely have to. We've seen some taxis have some near misses here just in the past couple of minutes, even though there really isn't that much snow on the ground. Now, in terms of what people are doing with buildings, you can see that many of the supers have already been out. They've been shoveling. We're out in front of a food store here, and you can see a couple of guys out here. They are trying to keep ahead of the storm. That job is not the easiest in the world, I can tell you. A lot of people are out trying to do their normal routine here through the snow. Kids are seeming to love it. We've seen a couple of kids coming by with their parents here on the Upper West Side, and they're having a good time. The parents are not having quite as good a time. If you have to be out walking, the sidewalks are going to be a little slippery, even in areas that have been shoveled, even in areas that have been sanded, because the snow just keeps coming down. Now, really, the accumulations here, as we say, are not that great. This car's been parked here a few minutes, and you can see it's got a good dusting, but this is really not that much snow. So we're just getting started. We're going to be here for quite a while, and of course, as it develops, we're going to bring it to you. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Dave Browdy, thank you very much. He's right. We're going to be here for a while.
I think for quite a while.
For a long time. And Dave, get a hat, would you? It's going to start really piling
That's
up.
a good suggestion.
Very cold outside.
Well, you know, it's interesting. A lot of people want to compare this particular storm to some of the big storms that we've had historically here in the New York area. You've been covering
It's our
weather here
snow
for quite a
historian.
while.
That's
so
right. We've been looking at the record books because this
we come
will
to you from
indeed
Cleveland.
set a record for many parts there. Washington, D.C. is talking about breaking the record that they had set way back in 1922 of 28 inches, and it could top what they had in 1772 of more than 30 inches, and all that is moving this way, everybody. Let's look back. At Christmas time, just a day after Christmas, we had December 1947, 26 inches of snow fell. Now, it fell rather quietly. It wasn't much wind with this storm, so it really piled up, 26 inches. March of 1888, of course, that was the big blizzard. The story there was not so much snow, though there was 21 inches. Drifts of 3 to 4 feet due to hurricane force winds. And then March of 83, or February of 83, not that long ago, about 13 years ago, 17 inches of snow. And then March in 1993, just 3 years ago, we had 10 inches. That was the big storm that stretched all the way from Georgia up through New England. And we only stopped at about 10 inches, but many of the folks down in Virginia in the mountain area picked up 1 to 2 feet. We changed to sleet and snow and then ice pellets here. We're not going to do that this time. The freezing line is well to our south. Let me show you a couple of weather maps here. The pressure, that's one of the things we look at. The low pressure right now is off the Carolina coast. That's a long ways off. It's got to go up towards Cape Cod during the next 48 hours. And we look which way it's going. We get an indication here on one of the charts. Cold air, this is the temperature chart. The 30 mark goes all the way down into Texas. Right now in Atlanta, 22 degrees with some light snow. There is a lot of cold air, a lot of moisture coming in from the Atlantic Ocean. Again, let's recap some blizzard tips. Extra batteries for your radio and your flashlights. Power can easily go out with the gusty winds of blizzard-like conditions, so extra batteries is a good idea. Some extra food. Yes, the stores might well be closed, or you may not even be able to get to the store for the next couple of days just because of the snow drifting and blowing. And please don't use candles for lighting because accidents can happen. Indeed, candles leave you with an open flame, and that indeed could happen. So care, caution, and some prevention ahead of time.
Joe Whitty, as far as the rate of snow, we've been hearing like 1 to 2 inches an hour. Is this pretty significant? And
This is a sign of a major blizzard, yes, major storms. And with the winds, it's really going to pile up in some place. Snowplow comes through, looks clear. 20 minutes later, it's blown over one more time. And we have some preliminary reports of up to 2 feet now in the mountains of western West Virginia and West Virginia itself. So it is really piling up. Roanoke picked up about 4 inches in just 2 hours' time. That's 2 inches per hour. So it can happen. Already, they have 18 inches of snow on the ground.
That's a lot of snow.
Joe Whitty, thank you very much for putting it into perspective for us.
All right, Joe, thank you very much. We're going to check in now with Jeff Macklin of New Jersey Transit and find out what's happening there. Jeff, when we last checked in, we were being told that they weren't even trying to sand the roads at that time. It just wasn't that kind of storm, that all the plows were out. What's happening now?
Well, what I can tell you is the snow desk in Trenton has been activated since this morning, and out of that Trenton office, we coordinate a lot of the our preparation for the weather. And my understanding is that as far as the rails go, we're doing extremely well given this weather conditions. On the bus side, Some of the local streets are a bit difficult to negotiate. The highways seem to be pretty clear, and I understand there are plows out sanding the highways and getting them in pretty good shape for vehicles.
Jeff, can you tell us what the contingency plans are for tomorrow morning? I imagine tomorrow's morning commute is going to be really rough.
Well, that's what we're working on right now, and we're going to be monitoring the situation and see what makes sense in terms of the service we want to provide tomorrow. At this point, there may be some type of modified bus service because of the weather conditions. We don't want to operate buses if the roads are slick or they're not in very good shape. As far as the rail side, we don't anticipate any problems on the rail side. We believe that our trains are going to be able to operate, and we will keep everybody posted on what the conditions are and what kind of service we are going to be providing.
All right, Jeff Mack. Oh, sorry, Ken.
I was going to ask a question. Just as far as delays when it comes to the rails and maybe even some of the buses that people are trying to take to get to the destinations, where can people call to find out the information on delays and perhaps cancellations of certain routes?
Good question. I have a 1-800 number for News 4 that I'd be happy to give to you that you can share with your viewers.
Great.
It's 1-800-772-2222, and at that number, that's a 1-800 number within New Jersey. People can call that number to check on delays, check on operational issues, and to see if their trains or buses are running. There's also a number for our customers in New York. It's a 201 number. 201-491-7400, and we encourage people to call in to check, and we also encourage folks, if they don't have to go out, if they don't have to venture out, stay home, because if the forecasts keep up, it may be a very trying day, a trying commute as well. So that's our advice.
Jeff Macklin, we appreciate that information, and we will continue to give those phone numbers out to our viewers, and we will check back in with New Jersey Transit later on in the show. Ken?
And now we're going to turn to a man we've turned to all morning long. Thank goodness he's had
for the island. About an inch on the ground at the moment. Much more to come